Well, my presentation is about defensive backs. It's called the heart of the pass game. Uh, I know many of you are wondering what are defensive backs. The term usually to describe defensive backs is the secondary. Usually they call that in college football, NFL, usually not in high school. But yeah, defensive backs are usually described as the secondary. Defensive backs consist of cornerbacks and safeties. There's a minimum of about four on the field at the same time. Usually there's more, but that's just in different packages. It's two corners and two safeties. When it comes to the pass game, defensive backs are the most important because you can't defeat a pass game without defensive backs. They're the ones to play man-to-man coverage and stop the pass game. Typically on the field, these are where the cornerbacks will line up, and these are where the safeties will line up. There are two different types of safeties, free safeties and strong safeties, and I will explain the difference later. Um, as you can see, they're all on different levels. Well, two on the same, two on the same. The views from both are very different. So a corner cannot see what a safety sees, and usually, well, a safety can see the whole field, but usually not close to the line of scrimmage like a corner would. Cornerbacks. Cornerbacks, like I said, is lined up closer to the line of scrimmage. They play usually in man covers is man-to-man against a receiver, mano a mano. They just believe in, they can't let that man beat me, or I just can't lose. At the cornerback position, there's like certain requirements that you need in order to fulfill that spot. Speed and agility. Usually you need to be able to run with a receiver because they have the tendency to be very quick, some very slow, and you need to be able to match that. You have to have the ability to break up passes. So when the ball is thrown, that's one of the ways that you can defeat the pass game, by having the ability to break up passes. You need great hips to turn when the receiver turns. You just have to turn and change direction. And most likely, cornerbacks are usually the fastest players on the defense. And the main thing that helps cornerbacks succeed is communication. You can't really strive at the cornerback position without speaking or talking. As I said, there were two different types of safeties. This is a strong safety. Strong safety is preferred to be lined up on the strength of the formation. So, for example, if there were three receivers here, then strong safety will be lined up on the side, the strength with the three receivers, or if it was a tight end or a receiver here, strong safety will line up here, receiver will line up here. Strong safeties are typically the largest players in the secondary. They tend to have a mixture of a linebacker, cornerback, and usually have abilities from a defensive lineman, all in one. Strong safeties typically are involved in the run game. They help in the pass game, but they're more strong with the run. They help fill in gaps that are open. In the pass game, they're most likely to cover tight ends because tight ends are usually a mixture of receivers, running backs, fullbacks. It's just like all in one. So they're usually big, and it would make sense for a strong safety that's the largest player in the secondary to take on the largest receiver in the man-to-man game. And at the safety position, it's very important to communicate. Free safety position. At this position, you can actually, you can say that he's the last line of defense because the free safety usually does not involve himself in the run game often. Usually stays back and helps where there's threats. So you can say hang back and attack when needed. A free safety is usually, if they are helping in the run game, they usually are the one that's unblocked because teams that set up block schemes and usually try to run the ball, they usually leave the free safety unaccounted for, and that's what makes him unblocked and free. Also at the free safety position, you also must communicate. And just as a defensive back core, the main key to defeating the pass game is communication. You can't, for example, you can't win a game as a defensive core and not talk to each other. You have to tell each other what to look out for, what's coming, if you need to switch, and more than likely, the main thing that goes on in a defensive back's mind is how am I gonna win the rep? How am I not gonna lose? How am I not gonna let this person score on me? So usually they talk to each other and form a brotherhood, and usually that's how all defensive backs are. Thank you.